I've been fighting to, I guess, bring to the forefront soccer culture.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew that there was millions of people who are just like me, but unfortunately in America, how soccer is presented, nobody looked like us. My brother and I came up with the idea of footballer because at that time there was no really lifestyle brand that we would want to wear that represented soccer. And when I'm doing what I'm doing, I still want to represent who I am, who's a footballer.
Right.
Again, we talked about the culture here in America. I wanted to make sure that I helped try to shape that culture and bring out that culture.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are now tuned in to the EPB podcast. I'm your host, Matt Marshall. I got a special guest with me today. You know, this podcast is about investigating the culture of soccer in America as well as around the world. And I have nobody better than my boy Mabricio Mookie Wilson. He's with us. Thank you for coming in, brother.
Salute, salute, salute. A pleasure to be here on the best podcast in the United States.
That's what I'm talking about. And that's just after the Crack podcast, which he is a part of. Yes, Mookie is not only a seasoned music industry veteran, he is also very tapped into the football culture, being the founder of a football streetwear and lifestyle clothing brand, Footballer. We're going to talk about that and much more today. Really what this podcast is about is the culture around soccer. And this is soccer culture around the world. And I'm trying to explore soccer culture in America. You know, and so by learning about other culture around the world and learning about people who actually have been in the culture here, it's helping me get like a litmus of where we've been, where we are now, and where we're headed. Really,
it's interesting because we still have to define what is the culture of football in America.
That's
right?
a big question.
We're such a big melting pot, and we're still so brand new, right?
Yeah.
That we have to stop following every other culture and kind of identify our own and own it. So I think we're in the process of that, but we're still babies in that, bro.
Absolutely.
You know, I think we need to first respect our own culture and then first try to develop it, try to have confidence in it, and then just own it. Say this is who we are.
Yeah.
Because you know, we all grew up under that English European model, especially English model.
English for sure. English and German, right?
Yeah, English and German model. That's really what birthed soccer in this country. And then you know, now we're not following that model. I don't know what we're following, right? It's the Pep Guardiola Spain model is that everybody wants to play out the back now. So I don't know. I think that's the problem with us. We don't have a real identity. You know, Greg Berhalter took one class in Spain, and now we're Americans playing Spanish football, I guess, you know.
And we be knocking it. We don't score any goals, but we knock it.
From a decade ago, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, absolutely.
So I think what has to happen is you know, better coaches, good players become coaches, and then I think that will help us. Right now, the great Berhalter, who, you know, had a great career, good career. We need players who had great careers who come back and really give us the toolage.
Yeah.
And so it takes time, man. And I think that's the thing. We don't have any patience. And if you look back at football in this country, you know, 20, 30 years ago, it was totally different. So I think that we got another 40 years before we really hit that stride. I know. But yeah, I remember, look at England, Spain, Brazil. Look what we're competing with. Germany, you know?
Absolutely. But you look at teams like England who have been there and have been the standard in club football, but internationally they still, you know, aren't reaching the heights. Yeah, you know, they should be recycling every 20 years. We should be like England's at least in a final. You know, they got to their first final I've ever seen them get to in the Euros a couple of years ago.
So I like your setup, man. You got the studio look. I see the stuff on the wall to bounce off the sound.
Yeah, man.
I like it.
I'm trying. You know, I got some aesthetics, but you know, I need somebody to come in and really help me line this up. You know.
Remember, you gotta do it your way. You can't look like nobody else. You know,
that's true. It can't look like nobody else.
Just need an Arsenal jersey right there. I don't know who that female is right there, but you need an Arsenal jersey over her. I hope that's not your mother or nobody, but need an Arsenal jersey over her.
That's June Indo. She's a Angel City FC Japanese player.
Oh, okay. My bad. Shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out June Indo. She's a baller. Unfortunately, she tore her ACL this start of this season, but
So we can put an Arsenal jersey there. It's
yeah,
cool.
so it's funny too, and I was gonna ask you who your team was, because all of my friends, all of my closest friends are Arsenal fans. Y'all got a big, and I know I told you I don't talk about
Yeah.
topical stuff, but we're gonna talk about topical stuff. It's April 16th right now. Y'all got a big Champions League second leg quarterfinal game up. How are you
Huge.
feeling about going to Munich and trying to steal one and get to the semis?
Not good. Real with you. I'm a Arsenal truest, and one thing about this season, which was dope, is that I didn't second guess Arsenal. Every game I went into, I felt confident.
Yeah.
And I couldn't say that the past 3 years. I felt confident on the mentality. I felt confident on the players and what they wanted. And I just, if you're down in the 90th minute, I knew you were going to score.
Yep.
But going to Munich with a game where they have to win, and also they had such an embarrassing season that I don't know.
It's gonna be
what I mean, we need luck.
Luckily, y'all have a system. I still don't know what Tuchel's doing out there in Munich, but what he does have is he has some ballers. Like
Exactly. So games like this, nobody's listening to Tuchel.
yeah, it's about individuals. Exactly.
Yeah.
And he got all the
Nobody's listening
individuals.
to Tuchel. They right there managing themselves in the field, and then
Yeah.
they're gonna find a way to get it done. And then I've been to Bayern Munich Stadium, and when that crowd gets behind them, for a game like this, it's a tough atmosphere to play in, bro.
Yeah. That's even a better segue into how you became an Arsenal fan. Give me just your background. You're a baller, grew up in the New York area. Like
Yeah.
what got you into ball? What got you into Arsenal? Give me a little bit of all that.
So I was born in New York City, Queens to be exact, and my parents are Jamaican, and my father, uncles, cousins, brother, everybody who was a male figure in my family played soccer.
Okay.
And so I came up in the game with no choice, before I knew anything, I knew a soccer ball. So, for me, growing up as a footballer was something that was passion, that was life, that was pride, ego, to be able to talk trash to your cousins and talk trash to your uncles. And I had a lot of successful cousins and uncles and father and brothers around me. So it was a lot of pressure coming up as a footballer because you had to kind of reach the standards they reach and try to surpass it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I came up in an era in a neighborhood where soccer wasn't huge, right? And if it wasn't for my family, there's no way I had the influence to play the game. Nobody was playing in the parks. There wasn't a lot of clubs and opportunities. But I was fortunate enough to have a father who was so invested in football that he would take us, 45 minutes away to get practice, to play for teams. I mean, he really, I'm not saying pushed us, but he was really committed and giving us the footballer lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, so it was fun, man. It was fun. New York City is an interesting place because a huge melting pot to play ball. So you play with Caribbeans, you play with Italians, you play with Irish, you play with Germans. You know what I mean? You play with French, you play with, Africans, you play with Latinos. So, you got a little bit of everybody's flavor and culture.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
That is interesting. You just saying this kind of reminds me that I actually haven't had a lot of experiences even talking to New York ballers, to be honest.
Yeah. Am I the first New Yorker that's on this show?
I think you might be the first New Yorker.
Oh.
And this is episode maybe 115. You might be the first New Yorker, true blood New Yorker on this show. So thank you. That's claps to you. But
I don't know how I feel about that, man.
I know, man.
I don't know if you're hating or just just happen. I don't know. You know what I mean? I represent New York everywhere I go, so I want to make sure that we gotta get some more New Yorkers up here.
Absolutely, bring them through. Because Red Bulls, be producing them. You know what I mean? So
they produce New York City FC producing them as well. But I'm sure when you were growing up, you played versus a New York team that spanked you. You know what I mean? Down in Georgia.
I can't remember him. If it happened, it might have happened, but I can't remember it. That's all I got.
Oh man, big shout out to the Georgia soccer. Come down here.
Yeah, man. Big soccer in Georgia. So there was always one or two New York teams. It was always like a California team here that was in a big tournament in a Disney Cup kind of thing, and then definitely a New York team, and then like a Virginia team. Like there was always something like that. But kind of going back to New York and growing up, like this is like this is the '90s. Are you going to the burbs? Where are you even finding ball? Are you playing on turf? Like what
So I had a mix. So first of all, there was no turf. I'm 44 people listening to this, so I'm the OG of this situation. But there was definitely no turf. We played on dirt, rocks. My first soccer game I ever played in. If you fall, they had this like these plants or bushes on it wasn't grass. It was like you're playing on like these type of bushes. Like if you fall, it has like a prickle.
Yeah.
If you fall on the ground, you just feel your legs getting stuck up. It was no joke. Big shout out to Rosedale Soccer Club, but Timothy Weah grew up playing there as well. But it was a horrible field, but that's all we had, and so you had to know how to develop a touch.
Yeah.
But playing in the burbs, I started playing in Queens in a neighborhood, like you said, Rosedale Rockets, which is a club that was an all-black club, mostly West Indians and Africans, and we didn't have a lot of resources. We had one field for every team, and goals with no nets, parent coaches, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough to have a father who, he always he was very instrumental in building Caribbean soccer in Queens. He started a club called Real Carib. He had a tournament every Labor Day weekend, a men's tournament. So I was fortunate enough to have a father that was like he was not only a lover of the game, but he was one of the people who was one of the leaders in Queens in terms of pushing football and helping the culture. So I had a brother 8 years older than me, and my father learned a lot going through his career. He always said that he didn't discover the suburbs and the suburban teams until my brother got to an older age, probably around teenage. And by the time he left, it kind of hurt his development. So by the time I came around, I started in the teams in Queens, I was able to venture out to the suburbs to get the better opportunities a little bit earlier, and that helped my development. So my brother hates me for that. He always says that I had better coaching. That's why I was a better player. The cool thing about myself is that on Saturdays I would play with the Caribbeans because my father would have a pickup going on, and then Saturday evenings I would play in a game maybe in the suburbs, right? So I had a nice mix, and that helped me as well because I wasn't too structured, meaning like I wasn't overcoached.
Right.
I knew what pickup ball was. I knew what just going to the park and putting on a penny or taking off your shirt to run skins and just playing for 3 or 4 hours without somebody telling you what to do. And then playing with older guys as well and having to keep up and represent. So I got the best of both worlds living in New York City.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's something, I mean, back to talking about finding that culture, finding our culture within soccer in America. Like I had to go out with the Latinos in my neighborhood.
Yes.
And, go out with, I'm sure go out with the Caribbeans or the East African, West Africans and things like that. So actually, I remember hearing a Thierry Henry interview or podcast where he was mentioning playing in Paris suburbs, you're playing on blacktops, and that's where you're getting your real culture in football. Yes, you get your education from Clairefontaine and the big coaches, but the real education, the cerebral stuff happens when you're just on the pitch having fun.
You said blacktop. We had just dirt. We had no, with the weather in New York City and so populated. Every park that did have a soccer field, it was just dirt left. There's nothing else left but dirt and rocks.
Does that mean none of y'all in New York know how to slide tackle?
No, we slide tackle because we dirty, but you just get beat up slide tackle.
Yeah, exactly.
The cherries and your legs all cut up, but that was part of it. Somebody it can't beat you.
Right. You're hardened by it.
Yeah. It was regular. Bleeding on the field was regular for us.
So tell me this. It sounds like kind of true to the American story. There's the better coaching, maybe better facilities even, and opportunities are out in the suburbs. But in the city, especially in the melting pot that New York is, was there any kind of like, oh, we can't play against them, they're too fire? Or
you had the privilege, towns, teams that might have had, just the the better organizations, right? More practices, better fields, stuff like that.
Yeah.
In Queens, for one, you only had so many clubs. In the big population of Queens, you might have had 3 clubs growing up.
Yeah.
And within those 3 clubs, there's only so many kids you had signing up compared to what's going on in the suburb. I think the biggest difference was the fields, the organization, and then having coaches, the opportunity to have coaches. Like again, um, the Caribbean, the migrant, they did it off of the love, but they were working hard, right? So your father might love the game, but he has to work a lot more hours and don't have the time to really tone in. So playing pickup was different than actually having practices.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So even though you're playing pickup, you learn how to beat a player, how to compete, and you're learning certain things naturally. While in the suburbs, you're actually working on shooting, you're actually working on certain things that you have nets, and I think that blend can help anybody, right? And that's why I encourage my players now is not only to have private personal training and group training and playing for academy team, but you have to play pickup, especially in the summer, especially in the winters, to develop your own style. Because I think a lot of these kids right now are just too overcoached.
Yeah. Even now at the international level across the world, there
Mhm.
seems to be this kind
Yeah.
of thought process that uh, the game is too rigid now. Everybody, like to your point of all these private personal trainers and all these coaches now, even in European, the top of the top ball, you're seeing stuff that just seems that lacks creativity in a way. And it seems like the better players that are coming out of that are the more cerebral, again, players who can kind of who have that extra instinct to just turn it on a little bit. The Rafa Leao's kind of, the more raw players.
It's funny because just today I was at the spot called Smithfield in Manhattan watching the Champions League game, and one of my boys, we shout to Kwame Darko, he was like, "Who right now is the next Neymar?"
Right.
And I was
Right.
like, and I sat there, I thought about it. I went through all the teams, started thinking, but who is that player who plays with that flair, who plays with that confidence, who plays with that freedom? And who? I mean, I'm bringing that question to you. Who's the current Neymar?
There, I can't really. I mean, I would have already picked him out if there really was one. But it's like we're losing that. Like you still have some Brazilians with flair. You got the Vinny Juniors and the Rodrigos and whatnot. But I mean, Vinny got to Madrid at 16. You can tell that he not only benefited from the structure, but also lost that thing that Neymar has. Like.
And that's why Brazil is not as dominant anymore, because their players are going to Europe too early.
Too early. And I remember specifically thinking, this was back in the day with Oscar and Lucas and all them coming out. That was all Neymar's class. Hulk, all of them. And they were going overseas. And I remember Neymar took an extra year or two at Santos. And I remember thinking, this is crazy. He's the best of all of them. Why isn't he going to Barcelona? And it was like, I mean, I think Neymar had some of the best even though his career is whatever, you'll hear back and forth. I still think he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Brazilian. And that's wild for me to say. I mean, I'm a big Ronaldinho fan. Like there's a nameless, but just understanding some of the injuries he's had and how he just comes back and he's still nutmegging you and still rainbowing you because that's just his style. That's how he plays.
At that level, at that highest level.
At the highest level. He's doing that in Champions League finals.
That's the part of the game that I don't like, is that everybody's playing the same way.
Yeah. Yep.
So remember, you watch a South American country play, you watch a European country play, you watch everybody play differently, and there's a different flavor. Now everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And then the players, everybody's just athletic. Nobody's actually creative anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that people say, oh, the game is better now. The game is better financially.
Right.
Making more money, and it's all the TV deals and stuff like that. But there's no more Maradonas. There's no more Neymars. There's no more. I mean, you can go on and on. And I hate to sound like that old school guy, but I want to put these young boys on. Like, you think these guys are nice? The joy of the game and the creativity of the game. You have no idea what a 10 is like, right?
Yeah. Yep.
A 10 right now is not the same 10 from before.
No.
years ago.
And shout out to him because I love how he plays and I love him for being a young brother on Madrid. Jude Bellingham is now the new 10, which is an 8 plus 2, right? Like that's not a real 10, like
that's a horse.
That's exactly. And honestly, he does. He gallops around that field. And again, he's got a good touch. He's got good foot skill, but it's not the same as somebody who's completely unathletic, like a Fabregas, who's able to just literally just twist people around.
Who did Fabregas play for?
He played for Chelsea. He won. You mean who did he win trophies with?
My bad. I set myself up. You can edit that part out.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, I'm telling you, all my best friends are Arsenal fans. I got Arsenal banter for days. Man.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, no, I mean, but honestly, and shouts out to him on Arsenal coming up there at 19. Like he could have been that dude on Barcelona had he stayed there and kind of come up through the ranks. But he went out on his own and really created a career for himself out of nothing because he had that natural ability. And that's what I want to see more. So speaking of natural ability, obviously you showed how you grew up and had a little bit of the best of both worlds, some of the good coaching, benefited from being a younger brother, which is me too. My brother's 7 years older than me. So I got
so you know what it is. Yeah. So the great thing about that big age gap is that you was able to learn from the good and the bad.
Yes.
So, a lot of times you too close, your brother's a year or two apart. Your father might make a decision and you don't see the consequences until it's too late.
Right.
I was able to see the results. I saw my brother go through, get to college and see, okay, what he made good, made bad. We was talking about basketball before this, and one of the key things I decided to do was stop playing basketball in high school early and focus on soccer because my brother did both until senior year, and I felt that hurt his maybe opportunity to get into a better schools. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just little things like that, right? And again, which clubs to play for, what leagues you need to be finding out about. And every time I took my steps in growth in football, I already knew what to expect because I see my brother do it.
Yes.
So ODP was big my era. So I already knew what it was to try for the select team, state team, regional team. I already knew how important it was. I already knew what it meant. I already knew what it can do for my career.
Yeah.
So I was blessed in that situation. So I know you know the same feeling.
That's amazing. That's literally the same thing. I remember even having conversations, and again, 7 years is a pretty big gap. But I remember like he would used to clown me. He used to go, man, my jersey numbers are stitched onto my jersey. You got them iron-on joints. You can't get, you know what I mean? So every time I was like trying to climb, I want to join an ODP team. Oh, I want to go play in a tournament in North Carolina. Like it really created that hunger out of me, and I was able to progress past his point as well. So that's how it works. So then you ended up going to school. You ended up going to ODU.
Right.
Was there a whole recruiting process a part of that, or?
Well, hell yeah. So again, seeing what my brother went through, I had an idea. When I was 13, he was playing at VCU for Lincoln Phillips. So I was able to go visit him and like hang out in the locker room, hang out in the dorms, go to the parties, go to the classroom. I'm 13 years old on campus by myself, visiting him. And I'm at the game, Lincoln's giving halftime speeches. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm trying to give my point of view because I'm a big mouth New Yorker. But by him going to college, that motivated me. I understood that, this is what I want to do. And I think that's why it's so important for young kids to visit schools and to at the earliest possible and get that experience so you can know what you're shooting for. You hear kids say, I want to go play in college, but what is college ball? They don't watch college soccer. They don't go to the local schools. So that was huge for me. And then being from New York, I saw what Virginia was about, right? I saw that, this is what the college environment is like, the good weather, the good fields. So when I was coming out of high school, I had like 26 soccer offers, and there's a guy named Bob Warman. Shout out to him wherever he is. He's a legendary college coach. He coached at Creighton, St. Louis, Penn State. But he went to Old Dominion. He tried to recruit like 5 to 6 players on my regional team together. And he was like, listen, you guys gonna come in. I want you guys to change the program to start. So my brother at the time was playing for the Hampton Road Mariners. And he was already down in that area, Virginia Beach. And my brother, we grew up him punching me in the face, slapping me in the head, get out of here, you're annoying. And he said something to me. He said, "Yo, I want you to come to Old Dominion because I didn't get a chance to see you play in high school. I would love for you to come down here with me."
Mm.
And we don't talk that way in my family. Like, we are very, and I looked at him. I said, "What?" And it was a very sensitive moment. And
Mm.
I was like, "Wow, let me give ODU a chance." And when I learned about the history of Old Dominion, and then when I seen, obviously, I knew a little bit about Virginia already. I liked Virginia because a lot of colleges down there. It was um, cheaper to live than New York City.
Yeah.
I had to make a big decision because St. John's in 1997, they won the NCAA tournament. And Dave Mazur gave me a full ride to go to St. John's. And I was hanging out with all the St. John's players my senior year of high school. I was playing men's league with them. I was hanging out with parties. Those are my guys.
Yeah.
So everybody knew I was definitely going to St. John's. But when my brother hit me with that, I gave Old Dominion a chance. And I felt that it was best for me to leave New York and not stay too close to home. And so I decided to go to Old Dominion and, had a nice journey there and got a chance and opportunity to enjoy Virginia, man. Virginia's a great place to go to college. Anybody listening right now, it's a great place to go to college. It's cheap to live, but also there's a lot of colleges around there. And it's another important point. I went to Old Dominion. They didn't have a football team.
Yeah.
I went to go visit Boston College for a recruitment trip, and they were playing versus, I think, like Notre Dame or some other big football school. It was a football game going on. And the weekend I was there for my trip, they brought me to watch the football game, but we walked past the practice field of the soccer team, and it was used as a parking lot.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
I said, nah, this can't work. So well, I just saw that in these big schools, they didn't, you're a small potatoes on campus when you have a big top six or big football team in your campus.
Yeah.
And Old Dominion at the time didn't have a football team, so that helped my decision as well.
No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I love the moment though you shared about kind of almost the sensitive moment between you and your brother, especially as a black man growing up. You know what I mean? Like to really
Bro,
hear somebody speak from the heart and be like, man, like come be close
but
to
that
family.
shocked me, bro.
Yeah.
I never heard my brothers never talked to me that way before. And again, we're 8 years apart. So when he went to college, and I'm like in my prime, years of the youth player,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see me once in a blue if I had a tournament somewhere close to Virginia or Florida. He ended up coming, but he didn't really get a chance to really watch me play.
Mm.
And for him to say that to me, I was blown out the way, man. A big shout out to Carl Bird, another former ODU alumni who played professionally with my brother, and he helped recruit me too. So it was good, man. It was fun. I got a chance to play all 4 years, but like I tell people, college made me a worse player. I went into college a better player and came out a worse player.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
And what do you attribute that to? Just the life of a college player, like you're not playing year round, or
Not playing year round.
Yeah.
The coaches don't give a damn about playing good football. It was just to win games,
Yeah.
and it was a track meet.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to argue with my coaches. He just retired, so God bless Alan, Coach Dawson. But anybody can tell you, I argue with my coach every year. Yo, bro, let's play some ball.
Yeah.
Every practice we're worrying about defending the other team. Can we worry about ourselves and keep the ball and have confidence and build confidence with us? Like, why are we spending 3 days out of the 4 days training about defensive structure? You know what I mean? So unfortunately, I mentor kids now and help them go to college. And I just let them know, listen, all your coaches care about, and rightfully so, is keeping their job and what's the record.
Yeah.
They're not trying to develop you. They're not trying to play good soccer. They're not trying to play sexy soccer because there's no accountability, right? Nobody's watching these college soccer games saying, oh, they won, but they're not playing good soccer.
Right.
Nobody cares about that because nobody, the AD's not watching that. There's no, in these towns, there's no real journalists or media people who really know football, who really care.
Yeah.
So it was just whatever, you just get a good record and run people down and kick and try to score a goal and stuff like that. So, College soccer has gotten a little bit better, but it's still many programs that just play shit football all year round for 20, 30 years, and nobody says anything about it.
Right. And some of those schools are in the tournament every year too. I'm
Every
not gonna
year.
lie. Like
And
it's
that's another thing. The tournament is different. My era, the tournament wasn't as huge. Wasn't so many teams that get in.
yeah.
So I look at these coaches now and they try to tell me, "Oh, we're in the tournament." It really doesn't mean nothing, anything. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely think that speaks to kind of again when I talk about investigating the culture of soccer. Unfortunately, the way American sports are set up, college is still, one of the most important ways for our athletes to develop.
And that's the problem.
Exactly.
In every sport.
In every sport. In every
At,
sport, no matter what.
at 17 years old, I think I was balling.
Yeah.
I think I was playing with grown men. If you're in New York City and you grew up with me, you know I was playing with all the top leagues. I was playing with grown men, getting paid under the table. And you weren't looked at as a young kid. You looked at as like you got to hold your weight.
Right.
And going to a college environment and playing half a year and playing all those games back then and playing under coaches who didn't care about the style, there's no way you can develop and come out in 4 years a better player.
Yeah.
You're faster, you're stronger.
That's you're fitter. I mean, that was the biggest thing for me in college. The biggest thing was the fitness test. Like you gotta get this 3 mile under 7 minutes each, right? Like
the great thing about now, MLS started in 1996. I went to college in 1997. So MLS was still shaky. So I went to college. I wasn't thinking I was gonna play pro. My brother played the A League, which is now the USL.
Yep.
But they didn't make real money. So I wasn't thinking like, oh, I didn't think I had the opportunity to go overseas. I didn't think I had the opportunity to play professional soccer and make real money in the United States. So the thought process was different. So it's a blessing now. Things are different. That these kids now are 16 years old and get homegrown deals and get play for the MLS2.
Yeah.
Obviously the first round. So there's not, you don't have to go to college anymore, which is great. So I just try to encourage kids, if you go to college and you make it to pro, that's great. But go to college really to get your education. And if you really want to play pro, then go pursue that directly. Go to USL. You don't have to go to MLS and get drafted. Go to USL, go try out, do a circuit. So the opportunities are there now, which is great. You have all these leagues, NISA, USL 1, USL Championship,
UPSL,
UPSL. So it's dope. So again, those are things that's growing in this country. And kids, every year there's kids who have to make a decision. Do I go homegrown or do I go to school?
Right.
And that's a tough decision to make,
And hopefully some of those homegrown coaches and again, some coaches who are getting educations elsewhere will then maybe infiltrate the colleges and change that system.
Exactly. I think the difference is when I was coming up, a lot of college coaches were from overseas.
Yeah.
And if they had an accent, they'll get the job.
Right.
And I think now we finding a lot of these college coaches now are former professional players who have the pedigree. They also know what it feels like, and they played at a certain level inside the country, so they're able to relate to the players more and help them a little bit more as well.
Yeah, like you said, that just comes with time. So going from kind of the culture of playing soccer and being coach soccer to really just the outside factors that help build up a system. I'm talking about football or clothing right now. Like I'm talking about institutions that are set that make this sport cool and make people want to be into it. Where did the idea come from? How did it come about? How did all footballer come about?
Well, going back to grow up in New York City, when I played in the suburbs, I was the only black player on the ODP team. I was one of the few black players, probably the only black player on my club team.
Yep.
And I constantly was judged by coaches as being, the different one, right? I had some good coaches too. I had some great people in my life, Pat James, and I was blessed too. I want to go back. That I also had obviously the Caribbean culture was a great influence, but I had 2 Brazilian coaches in my life early. Renato Sila, who was a former player, played in Brazil, played for the Cosmos. He was my coach from early, and he gave me the light and the confidence to be creative. And then in high school, I had an ODP coach named Wilson Digio, who's a legend here in New York as well, and another Brazilian who we never ran, and we were the best ODP team, in my age group throughout the country because we did all ball work, and that was our fitness.
Yeah.
So even to this day, when I train, I coach players, I still use his method into how to shape a player. So I just want to say that helped me a lot. But I went through a lot of cultural shock. You know what I mean? And not necessarily for me, but for other people who are dealing with me.
Mm.
And then in my own neighborhood, soccer wasn't a thing. So I was a person saying, wearing soccer gear mixed in with my, I guess hip hop culture,
Right.
clothing and sneakers and stuff, just to be different. And people would look at me and like, yo, what's that? And instead of me wearing a throwback Lakers jersey, I'm wearing a throwback, IX or PSV or, Bayern Munich or something like that. So for my whole life, I've been fighting to, I guess, bring to the forefront soccer culture.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been fighting my whole life because I was always I was still popular in school. And unfortunately, at one point in my life growing up, I felt I couldn't even tell my friends I was playing soccer. Like I would go to Italy with the ODP team at 12 years old and come back, and my friends like, "Where were you?" I'd be like, "I was at my grandmother's house."
That's
You know what I mean? Because they would understand, like, we go play soccer.
Gonna
You
play
know?
soccer in a
Yeah,
different
I used to come
country.
from soccer practice to baseball games with my soccer socks, and because I ain't had time to change them. You know what I mean? We're playing with soccer cleats, playing baseball.
Yeah.
And the great thing now is that all my friends who watched me grow and didn't understand my culture of soccer now have their kids playing because they saw the path I took, right? I was able to get a college scholarship. I was able to go around the world and the life I lived. But yeah, so football started because, I knew that there was millions of people who are just like me. But unfortunately in America, how soccer is presented, nobody looked like us.
Right.
Dressed like us, nobody talk like us, and for what have you. So it was just a situation where as a passion, I'm a person who I want to be a leader. I want to be a forefront. I want to do things that's going to help others and influence others. So 2009, 2008, I should say, my brother and I came up with the idea of footballer because at that time there was no really lifestyle brand that we would want to wear that represented soccer. And when I go to a hip hop club or I'm on campus or I'm doing what I'm doing, I still want to represent who I am, who's a footballer.
Right.
Mixed in with everything else that I am.
Yeah.
I'm not one person. I'm not just one identity. I have a lot of identities. So again, I was the one in the club with the soccer jersey. I was the one wearing Sambas and Gazelles,
Yep.
with Hilfiger and Polo. You know what I mean? I was the one wearing a Yankee fitted with, or Mets fitted with a ODP jacket. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So you go through all my pictures throughout my life, and you all see the mix of me wearing some type of soccer apparel with other things, and people just thought it was just something different.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to bring that to the forefront. I wanted to inject that into the pop culture, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I just knew that there were so many people who lived and had a passion for soccer, but there was no fashion in America that made a statement that said, "This is who I am." So the key thing for me was I just wanted a logo, like a Batman sign that said, "Oh, you're a footballer." So if I met you, your background is media and dealing with film, but if I met you at a business meeting, off the pitch, and and you knew you had that jersey on, I had this logo, you knew, oh, you a footballer.
Yeah.
You understand what Messi is. You understand what you got to go home to watch Champions League football.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
understand that you got to wake up 7:30 in the morning to watch Arsenal beat Chelsea. You know what I mean? You understand that, so you understand the lifestyle, you understand the passion, and it's a religion.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I was in the music business before I started footballer, and I would be in boardrooms and executives and meetings, and they would look at me as a hip hop kid if they were Jewish or Italian or come from a different culture. And once they knew I had soccer in my background, the wall dropped. So they didn't look at me as a little hip hop kid anymore. Look at me as, oh, okay, he understands, and everything changed, right? And the relationship changed. So I just knew how powerful that was, and I just wanted to make sure that, again, we talked about the culture here in America. I wanted to make sure that I helped try to shape that culture and bring out that culture that we have and we hear, and we need to scream it out. And I was tired of when I watch movies or I see magazines and it had anything to relate to soccer, even like ads, right? It could be like a Pringles ad, right?
Yeah.
And if a Pringles ad had like a soccer entity in it, it was some fat, chubby kid with big shin guards or some doofy, I should say, uh, class B or class C type of athlete.
Right.
And I know we were soccer players, but we were the best athletes in the school. We could play basketball, we could play baseball, we could play soccer, we could play whatever it was, football, we could do it all.
Yep.
And we were top. And they looked at us, and they always portrayed us as second class athletes and second class fashion, second class style, and who we were. So we just wanted to blink on that. And again, me, my brother and I, it was something that we lived this. This is who we were, and we fought for it. I mean, in our neighborhood, we were known as the soccer kids.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it was a tough start because people didn't understand what it was, because we didn't make jerseys, we didn't make cleats, we didn't make shin guards, we made off-field lifestyle clothing. And they couldn't understand that. What do you mean? It's soccer.
Right.
No, you have to wear it. You're not wearing it. One of the things that people don't wear in practice, you wear it at school.
Right.
You wear it when you go to work. You wear it when you go hang out with your girlfriend. You wear it when you go to the movies. To be a footballer, you have to live it. This is who you are off and on the pitch. So it took a while. It took a long time for people to really understand and the grips of what it really was. So
yeah. I want to really reiterate everything you were talking about, because you're telling my life story through your life. You know what I mean? And that's like one of the most important parts about this podcast. Like, it's like realizing and showing people that people with this story have been here. And not only have we been here, we've been the best athletes, like you said. We've been cultured, right? Like you said, you're in a boardroom. Now suddenly you know football. Now you're more cultured to me suddenly. You're not just that little brother who's, the assistant or whatever. Like that part of it, for me, it was kind of learning to code switch, and code switch growing up was never a good thing. And looking back on it and seeing how I'm able to conduct myself in different environments, it's a much better thing, not just in different environments, around different cultures, all of that stuff. Like, that stuff is so important. You talk about like hiding, your almost soccer identity, like you're Superman or something, which was definitely me, because again, when I was out in the burbs, out in Gwinnett County, Georgia, playing, and then I'd come back, I'd have to bust somebody's ass on the basketball court to get my respect, right? Or I would just be that
bingo,
kid, you know what I mean?
Bingo, you said it. You have to bust somebody's ass to get your respect.
Exactly.
And I lived two worlds, and I'm blessed for that. I had childhood teammates who I loved, and they came from totally different backgrounds than I came from. And you can't learn people culture through books. You got to be in their house and their moms and they cooking.
Yes.
And because I was Mookie on the soccer field, I wasn't a black kid from the hood. That's Mookie. We love Mookie. He helped us win games, and we know his parents. We know he's good peoples. We love Mookie. Mookie can sleep over in my Jewish house. Mookie can sleep over in my Italian house. And that was dope, because I got a chance to really have the real authentic experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So shout out to everybody who let me sleep over their house when I was.
No, big facts. Yeah. Shout out to everybody who was, carpooling you to games. Shout out to all those ones. Yeah.
And big shouts to the ones that didn't want to carpool me, because that's who I was too. I'll see y'all too.
Exactly. We see y'all. We remember y'all.
Yeah, because the hate makes us too. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
The great thing about our childhood, playing the game and playing youth sports, is that you get the good with the bad. You know what I mean? I had an advantage over my friends because I dealt with so many different cultures before I turned 14 years old.
Yes.
A lot of my friends didn't get a chance to deal with different cultures until they got into the work field, or maybe college, or maybe teachers in high school. A lot of times in my neighborhood, the people who don't look like us are just the authority figures, the teachers or the police.
Right.
While me, it was I had coaches who loved me, and I had coaches that didn't love me. I had parents that loved me, parents didn't love me. Referees, that's a whole different story.
Yeah,
but
I want to, because I just have zero knowledge of the fashion industry in general. I kind of want
Yeah,
to get into the nuts and bolts of like what it takes to start a clothing line. You know,
yeah.
I'll give you one more. My understanding of even fashion, I watched How to Make It in America, and How to
That
Make
was a fire show. How to Make America
Yes,
was
only went
fire.
2 seasons. It was fire.
That
About
was fire. I love
Yes.
that show.
Okay, I'm
So, like I said, I started the music business. I was doing marketing in the music business. I was running clubs in South Beach, Virginia, doing parties for Hampton Homecoming, stuff like that. Then I got into music marketing with labels and albums of Sony, Universal, and I quickly realized that um, what do I love? I like music like everybody else, but I didn't play an instrument. I didn't write lyrics. I didn't sing, even though I'm a great singer in the shower. I didn't sing. And I just felt that in life, to be happy, you're always gonna work hard, but can you wake up doing something that you love every day?
Mm,
And I realized that soccer was who I was, and I was a footballer, right? I grew up wanting to be a footballer, and being a Jamaican, that meant something, right? In Jamaica, when you're a footballer, you know, nobody messes with you. You have a certain amount of respect. You can walk through certain neighborhoods, and I see my father and my uncles have that relationship in life. So I wanted that same thing here, and I just, like I said, knowing people like yourself and millions of so many people just like me. So I jumped out the ship and I said, um, around that time, 2009 as well, 2008, I saw that CDs was coming in and streaming was eventually about to, develop, and the internet and the marketing dollars were down. And my job depended on marketing dollars. So
mm.
when I first started the music business, it was, $1 million videos with Hype Williams, who was a person from my neighborhood. I worked on his video sets and stuff like that.
Wow.
And that was my, that's what I get, right? My commission was off of stuff like that. And then when music videos became digital and became spending less money, it came from 1 million down to 30,000. And then when marketing budgets became lower, I said, let me catapult out the music business before it totally becomes, what it is now.
Right.
And let me start something that's going to grow. And I knew in 20 years, the World Cup will be here. And it'll be, probably one of the biggest sports in the country. So I wanted to start early, right? And I was fortunate enough to grow up in Jamaica, Queens, where we have a lot of celebrities and people in the music business that made it. But one of the people who I saw from day one was Damon John and Fubu. You
Mm.
might know Damon John from Shark Tank.
Shark Tank, yeah.
But when I was in high school, Damon John was waiting tables with my best friend at Red Lobster. And he used to wait tables and bring a shopping bag full of his clothes and sell it on the side while he was waiting tables at Red Lobster.
Hmm.
And then you see him turn into a mega mogul. So when I decided to get into the fashion business, I didn't want to be that person who just jumped into it. I went to Damon. I said, yo, let me come into the office and just soak up some game.
Yeah.
I didn't say to Damon, yo, I want to do a soccer line. Help me. I knew that wasn't that's disrespectful. So I would just sit in the office and just soak up game. I started hanging out with his secretaries. You know what I mean? So when I come through the building, they're gonna open the door.
Yeah.
If he's busy, I would go to the convention and just sit in the back and soak up game in the convention, learning about profit margins, learning about dealing with manufacturers, learning about the marketing aspect of it. Another person who I was able to learn from a lot was my boy Dennis Chang, who had a clothing line called Dada Supreme. Another person from my neighborhood, and now the same thing with him. Out of respect, I would just go soak up game.
Mm.
So besides getting free clothing from these guys and sitting in their office, I was just a fly on the wall. And when I leave their office, I go home and I work on my line and find the things I learned from them and then try to apply it. So I was blessed in that aspect of it. So when we started, I knew how important. I thought the logo was very, very important. So it took me 8 months to form my logo, and then I wanted to not spell footballer the same way. I wanted to try spell it something different because I had a vision that I would start off with soccer, and if it blew, I know I can do any other sport under footballer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So even though my logo looks like a guy kicking the ball. I also don't know what the hell it is. I had people who bought my clothing company, my clothing line for years and didn't realize it was a soccer. That was a soccer guy. They thought it was an F. So many different things you can shape into it.
Yeah.
So being a marketer, I knew how important a brand is and how to keep a brand on a high level, because if it gets too played out, you can never bring it back.
Yeah.
And doing that, we make sure that we also were a lifestyle brand. So we were big on throwing parties. We were big on doing viewing parties. I mean, we've been doing this since 2009, throwing viewing parties, throwing parties for major holidays, having soccer players hosting our parties on South Beach, in LA and Hollywood. So that was part of our culture that we were building. And I would get, I'm fortunate enough to have relationships with DeMarcus Beasley and Gucci Onyewu and Louis Sadu, and I can go on and on and on. But these are my brothers who, when we would go out and hang out when we were young, people didn't know who the hell we were. We were footballers. We weren't rappers. We weren't basketball players. Who the hell are these guys? So that's what I wanted to project, is the fun and the love and the lifestyle of the soccer culture.
Yeah.
So when you say in terms of the fashion world, I mean, it's delicate, meaning that a lot of fashion brands don't survive.
Yeah.
And the fashion brands you were wearing in junior high school, they're not around anymore, especially minority brands, right? And things come and go. So for us, we just want to take conscious baby steps and making sure, again, we keep us alive. And many people who started after us are still not here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm blessed to still be here.
You talk about the relationships you've made, kind of the foot, showing the footballer lifestyle. And I used to tell people, I was like, man, like once you see like a Rihanna or somebody dating a footballer, like people will start to get it in America. Or once you start seeing like, Jay-Z, whoever, rocking some football clothing. And again, like you said,
women love soccer players. We're the best looking athletes. We're not 7 foot tall. We're not 300 pounds.
Exactly.
I mean, we're fit, good looking, and we have a normal size. You know what I mean? So shout out to Rihanna.
Yeah. Shout out to Riri jumping over in Arsenal games and stuff like that. Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. To the point of the culture, where do you see us going from here, and what's going to drive us?
I think the reality is that the whole world's coming to USA.
Yes.
Right. We're the only market that hasn't been hit the ceiling yet. Right. There's only so much you can do left in Europe. There's only so much you can do left in South America. There's Africa, there's Asia, and there's United States. And the United States is where every club in the world wants to have some type of market share here.
Yes.
Right? Every club, every federation, they want to have a market share here. We're a melting pot. We're huge. It's the golden ticket for everybody in soccer. If you look at the MLS now, there's the starting 11. You might have one American on the field.
Yeah.
Everybody speaks a different language, right? And you saw that in England, the Premier League, right? The Premier League became great when the foreigners came into the league.
Right. Yeah.
And they had to put certain clauses to make sure they have a certain amount of English players on your roster, because otherwise there'll be no English players. So let's not get it twisted. England is not the best country in the world. That's because Premier League, which is the best league in the world, is really developed by people like Drogba.
Yes.
And the South Americans and the other European players who come from other countries outside of England. And the same thing is going to happen in the United States, right? Our best players go to Europe, but the players who are making up the talent here and being successful do not speak English.
Yeah.
And so I think that MLS will be a top 5 league in the next maybe 20, 30 years. Okay. But it will be a situation where we can't touch it, and your son will have a tough time trying to play MLS 1. Yeah. He might play 2, he might play USL, but to play MLS 1, it's going to be 0.2% of Americans that's going to make it. Yeah. So that's why I see it. I see that it's a no-brainer that it's going to develop. It's going to be huge. Eventually, they'll take the brakes off and start spending some real money. That's the money. Yeah, especially after the World Cup, right? They're going to spend real money. The salary, the player salary is going to go up. Mm-hmm. Sponsorship is going to go up.
I did just read a headline that MLS is now taking some salary caps. I think
Yes.
they're taking or
They're trying to small
transfer
steps.
fee. Yeah, it's small steps to like raise that ceiling for transfer fees and whatnot to bring more people over here. So
Yeah, and what's going to happen that the sponsorship dollars are going to end up paying the players. What Messi showed you is like, all right, you can stay under the salary cap with Messi, but his real money is from Apple
right,
and
Adidas. Exactly.
They're twisted. MLS ain't paying Messi. I can't curse here. My bad.
No, you
He's
can
not paying
absolutely
Messi.
curse on here. Yes, it's real talk
That's it.
here.
Yeah, MLS ain't paying Messi shit. It's
Yeah.
Apple. That deal with Apple changed the game.
Absolutely.
Right? When you could say, okay, Apple say, okay, no, we're gonna give you a percentage of all the subscribers. And also Adidas, they know what they're doing. Adidas paying way more money to Messi to come play in the United States.
Yeah.
In the MLS. So I think that's going to be the first thing that's going to help bring the top talent here. I just hope I'm just glad that they got away from bringing the older players.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The players that's in a wheelchair and still trying to hang on because they have a name. And I'm keeping real. I think they did a good job bringing in young South Americans that they can resell.
Yes.
You know, and those guys are ballers, 18, 19 years old, coming out of Argentina, Peru. Guys like Almiron, who plays for Newcastle, he's showing you can resell these guys. You have Duran, who plays for Aston Villa, young Colombian. I mean, you know, he came in at 18, 19 years old. In 2 years, he was sold, and they make a profit. So, long as the NFL owners can make money, the game is going to grow.
Good. Yeah, I hear you. Now, does the NFL have to drop? You think do some American sports have to fall off for that growth, or?
I think baseball is on its last.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, I think NFL is still strong. I think basketball is strong, but I think baseball is on its last, and we're going to take that spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think basketball is doing a good job of trying to globalize themselves. NFL, we'll see. Obviously, it's strong. It's the strongest sport in America.
It still has the history, and as long as you can tailgate and drink, they're going to love the game.
Yeah, that's true, too. That's another culture point. Like, like, where are what is the cool thing to do before a soccer game? Is it I mean, there's tailgate.
Yeah, I just came back from Nations League, and you should see the Mexicans. Big shouts to the Mexicans. Because win or lose, they partying.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Obviously, the South Americans are showing us how you're supposed to have a culture. And listen, man, I just hope that we start getting better chants than USA.
Yeah.
USA.
Yeah.
Take a Drake song, take an old Michael Jackson song, get some old songs, change the lyrics. Let's get a vibe in the stadium.
Yeah, it's gotta go with some music. You're not lying.
Oh man, I can't stand the UFC.
And it's tough. And we talking real talk on this podcast. I have some people who are connected to the American Outlaws and all that, and respect to them for trying to create some kind of culture. But that is honestly the problem. I went to an American Outlaws, which is like the official kind of supporters of the United States. I went to like a after party after a Nations League game in Vegas. When I tell you, I felt uncomfortably out of place in that thing.
Who the hell wants to be there? Nobody wants to be there. But the people like Black Arrow, I know myself and others who have done things in the space to make it show you that it can be cool, right? And what I'm hearing, like Cincinnati, Nashville, even Atlanta, the stadiums are rocking. But you go to some of these national team games, and these people just sitting in the seat, and it is not. There's no vibe. So I think that helps too. Like people need like LAFC. I've had friends that went to LAFC and became soccer fans because they had such a good time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So hopefully that will continue and that will spread. New York is a long way away from that. They need to encourage that. But New York City FC is building a new stadium in Queens, and that's going to be crazy.
Soccer only stadium.
Soccer only stadium across from the New York Met Stadium.
Wow.
And it's in Flushing Park, which is accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's in the area where it's supposed to be. And that's going to be nuts. And that's going to change New York City in terms of the soccer culture professionally. You know what I mean? We have it now in the amateur, but professionally, that's going to change it a lot.
I want to end with a little bit of fun for you.
All right.
I'm not gonna call you an old head, but you got maybe a decade on me, so I'm curious.
I used to take the OG mark very sensitive. OG. These young cats wanted, yo, what's up, OG? Who the fuck you talking to?
What you talking about, Brad?
I had to ask people. I said, yo, are they trying to play me?
Exactly. No, that's the distinction. That's a market distinction these days.
They say they're trying to give respect, but I'm like, I don't know, man. I ain't ready for that. I'm the OG.
I'm
I'm
getting
going out my
OG
gray
now.
hairs, man.
I'm getting OG. Yeah, you got the gray in your beard. I don't even have
I'm
gray in my
going,
beard yet. And
I'm
folks,
going it out, man. Don't have when you have kids, that's when all this gray hair start coming.
yeah, that's what it is. Okay, well, I'm gonna hold on because I'm still
Yeah,
out here on the soccer pitch with these 20-year-olds just trying to hold on.
definitely.
You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying? To let them know. I want to do a start, bench, or sell series with you. I'm gonna do 5 different ones and just go through it real quick, just to see where your head's at. We talked about Brazilians earlier. Start, bench, or sell. Ronaldo, phenomenal. Neymar, and
Yeah.
Ronaldinho. Neymar, Ronaldo, phenomenal.
That's
Now,
hard. What is it? It's start, bench, or sell?
start, bench, or sell. Get rid
Jesus
of.
Christ.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna man, I'm gonna sell Neymar.
No, not after we started this we started this conversation off so right. Come on now. You
I'm
gonna
gonna start.
sell?
I'm gonna sell Neymar. I'm gonna start Ronaldinho, and I'm a bench Ronaldo.
Bench Ronaldo.
Yeah, I need him for 20, 30 minutes. Come on and murder somebody.
I was about to say.
Yeah, but Ronaldinho's he coming off the bench. He gonna be tired. He gonna be like he's not gonna be into it. He gonna be mad at me for coming off the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not gonna produce, but he gonna take a while to get a rhythm. Ronaldo's gonna come on and just
do what
play
he do.
direct. Yeah,
Man,
he's gonna eat people up.
That's tough. I mean, I would say that Ronaldo has had bigger injuries than Neymar, but I feel you. I'm with you.
Yeah, but he's just he's
We're talking about the
I
Brazilian.
know what I'm gonna get from Ronaldo every game.
Yeah, that's true. That's
You
true.
know what I mean? I know
Yeah.
I'm gonna get from Ronaldo every game, and I know Ronaldinho is gonna at least give Ronaldo 2 assists. Yeah, Neymar entertains, but nobody entertains like Ronaldinho.
Okay. Let's go to Spain. Start, bench, or sell. Number 6 edition. Sergio Busquets, Xavi Alonso, or Rodri. Let's do Rodri. Young boy up now doing his thing.
I like Alonso's game out of all of them, but I hate Liverpool. So I didn't really appreciate him when he was there. But man, Rodri's a monster, man.
He's a monster.
Especially for this generation. I'm gonna start though. And Busquets is nice, but he's in the Messi era, so that always a extra mark because how would he do if he didn't have Messi to pass the ball to?
Right.
So I'm gonna start Alonso.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm selling Busquets and Rodri after you get the lead. I'm bringing him in to lock it up.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. There'll be a lot of people after this podcast who might come at your neck about Busquets.
Oh, listen. I'm used to that. That's what makes me get up in the morning.
Exactly.
The hate.
You want the hate. You want the
Love it. Love it.
Absolutely. All right. You know what? I'm gonna do just one more. U.S. edition. Start, bench, or sell. Man, I actually want to do 2 of these, but you already know where I'm going.
Do 2 of them.
All right, I'm gonna do 2 of them. So the first one, I'm gonna go with the white boys of the U.S. We're gonna go Landon Donovan, Christian Pulisic, and people want me to do Clint Dempsey, but I don't even want to put him in there. I want to put not Clint Mather. You know what? No, let me put Clint Dempsey in there because it would be too easy. Let's do Clint Dempsey.
Clint Mathis was a murderer.
Okay, thank you.
Clint Mathis was a murderer.
Clint Mathis was something different.
Clint Mathis was a murderer, but I got a chance to even play versus Donovan. He was in the U20s, and I saw him do something one time. I said, "Oh shit!" I never seen it. I mean, he was running full speed, ball over the top. He brought it down in stride, and I was like, "Damn, this kid is legit." So even though I don't like Donovan as a person, like personality wise, he annoys me. And I think he's weird. I can't hate on his footballing skills. I mean, the kid he's official.
Really?
Right?
It's not just speed. It's not just speed. Go ahead.
No. First
to put
touch.
Respect on Donovan's name right now. We can
his first touch, his grace. You know what I mean? Like he got it all. Like, Donovan can play ball. You know what I mean? Like he's just annoying and weird. But soccer wise, I can't hate him. I used to try, but I can't. And I respect them all. I respect Pulisic. I just wanted, I had Pulisic on our show, the Crack Podcast, and my co-host was like, "Oh, you always talk shit about Pulisic." I said, "Yo, when he's playing bad, we need to tell him he's playing bad." My beef with Pulisic is that when he came to the national team, they just gave him the reins and he didn't do nothing yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, if you want to make the kid a real baller, he has to work for it, right? Yeah. And he needs to compete. on the national team and on the club team. So I respect his game. I think he's nice as well, but I'm gonna have to sell him.
Wow. Mm.
Um, I'm gonna bring Mathis off the bench and I'm gonna start Landon Donovan. I can't believe I said
Wow.
it. I keep it real on this podcast. I know.
Yeah.
Because Mathis is gonna party with me the night before, so he's now I'm playing. But Mathis, he'll give you a killer 20. You know what I mean? But he'll come on and he'll
Easy.
bust it up.
Yeah.
But I think Landon, his assists, the goals, what he's done, no matter what, you gotta call him a legend in this game.
Is he the greatest American player of all time? Ooh. Ooh.
You know, is he the greatest American player of all time? I'm trying to think who was before him out of respect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
And I think you have to put in Claudio Reyna in those talks.
Mm.
I think the most talented, one of the most talented American players ever, I think, is Johnny O'Brien. You look him up.
Johnny O'Brien, old school.
He played for Ajax. He just had a lot of injuries, but I think skillfully and talent wise, he was one of those. He was him. He just never got a chance to really have a great season or get a chance to play in the World Cup.
Yeah.
But I think Claudio Reyna was one of the first in Europe to really do it on that high level and represent America. So I think he has to be one of the GOATs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not mad at that. Okay. Yeah. Claudio, getting it. Yeah. We unfortunately, I'd keep you here all day. I'm gonna have to bring you back on the podcast because I do want to talk about Gio Reyna and that situation, but that's for another time. Did y'all talk about that at all on Crack?
Oh, of course, man.
Okay.
Y'all go check out the Crack podcast, man. We had everybody up in there, and we were in the mix with that whole situation. And, you know, we know the backstories and the front stories and the side stories, and so the Crack podcast. If you guys don't know about it, it was myself, Gucci Onyewu, and DeMarcus Beasley. So we have some things in the vault, man. We had from Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Johnny O'Brien, Clint Dempsey, Josie Altidore. We had everybody's a guest who we felt that we respected. You know what I'm saying? So I think you guys should check that out.
Definitely y'all check that out. Amazing podcast. One of my inspirations even.
Respect
about this, and hopefully it will revive itself in an even better way.
Nah, man, we put it in a capsule. You know, I'm a firm believer. You know, you do something and you do something that was genuine, that was true.
Yeah.
And you keep it moving.
Yeah.
You know, both of my brothers are now doing big things. DeMarcus Beasley's on TNT.
Yes.
Working with the U.S. women's and men's, calling their games at halftime and pre-games. And big shout out to my boy Gucci Onyewu, who's now the assistant VP of U.S. Soccer. And that's why, we still wanted to do the podcast. I said, yo, bro, we keep it real here. And you're a U.S. Soccer. You can't talk.
You're official right now. You're official.
So I want to see you up here sugarcoating and dancing on.
Yeah.
About U.S. Soccer.
That's it. Hey, talk to your boy Gooch though. I talked to him at the coaches convention.
I
gotta tell him I'm hunting him down. I'll have him come and he can be official on the EPB podcast. I don't have to throw him hard balls, but Coach for sure talk about a brother to look up to, especially in America. For me, him coming before me in that way, especially during the Klinsmann era where that shook everything up. He actually was a really big role model of mine, just somebody I could look to and be like, yo, okay, we got
and I'm excited for him to be a role model as an executive next.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
He's the first Black executive we ever had at U.S. Soccer, and I think that this was something that he always wanted to do. Yeah. And I think he's going to do a phenomenal job wherever it lands him. If he stays at U.S. Soccer or goes to a club environment, but I think that he's going to make us all proud, and he's going to trailblaze and do big things, continue to do big things. So big shout to punk ass Gucci Onyewu.
Big shout, punk ass. One more from the brothers edition of U.S. Soccer. Start, bench, sell. DeMarcus Beasley, Eddie Johnson, or Timothy Weah. Where are we at with it?
Damn, that's fucked up. Well, I'm biased, right? Beasley's my blood brother, Beasley's so he's starting.
Oh man.
Timothy is a person who I watched grow up here in New York City, had the opportunity to work with him as a younger player and know his family. And I used to play pickup with his father. That's a cool ass story.
Wow.
His father used to come down, play pickup with us, and it was disrespectful because he was a 50-something-year-old man. And he had better
Ballon
first
d'Or
touch than
winner,
everybody
kill it.
else. Bro, you play to his feet, you don't know where the
Not
ball is,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
But I think this one's easy because Timothy he's still developing his career.
Yeah.
And if I don't say Eddie Johnson, if I trade Eddie Johnson, he won't speak to me for the rest of his life. So so I'm gonna put Eddie on the bench to come off the bench. Bees has to start, and then Timothy Way. I'm gonna sell you. I'm gonna loan you out, Timothy.
Loan. It's a loan, Tim.
You come back.
It's
You know
a
what I'm saying?
loan.
So, but I'm asking you a question. Who you think right now is the top 3 players on the U.S. national team?
Top 3 players on the U.S. national team. I'd probably give it to, man. I have to put Pulisic in there. He's Captain America, so I'm gonna put him in there. And he's done, incredible in terms of the goals he scored for Mexico to beat them out of the Nations League multiple times, things like that. I'm a big Weston McKennie fan.
Wait, you say Nations League?
Yeah, in the Nations League.
What is that?
The CONCACAF. What is that?
Oh, okay, my bad. Go ahead,
brother.
Go ahead.
What is that? Yeah.
I didn't know Nations League even had a trophy. I didn't know that held weight, but
Man,
go ahead.
I'm
just joking.
And now we have 3 of them, right? We have 3 of them. Nobody knows what that is. But yeah, we get in there.
I'm just joking.
We need something. We need something. We got some real stuff coming this year in the Copa America. So I want to see some real ball there.
Don't put that pressure on them. They ain't winning Copa America.
Maybe not winning, but it's like, okay, if we get to round of 16 in the World Cup, we need to get into the quarters, semis, something in Copa America. It's only Argentina, Brazil, maybe. There's not that many other teams that really can dominate us. So we need to go and put in some. It's time to put in some performances, is what I'm saying. We got these young boys. They're young still. But
I told people, because we haven't played any really good football. Right, even though we win the Nations League, we're still playing some shit football. We're not really playing well. But I told people, I said, watch their level rise because they're playing versus better teams.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're here in the United States, right? So they should have an advantage, even though the crowd would be more towards whatever South American country they're playing. But I think that if the level rise, because Mexico is trash, so we can't play good. They're not raising our level.
Right.
Nobody in CONCACAF is right now raising our level. So we don't play.
Trash.
So
CONCACAF is trash. Yeah.
You can't have all these players playing in good leagues, and we don't have a better performance.
Yeah.
So even though I don't think Greg is the right fit as a coach for us, I still believe that this summer we're gonna at least see some better football from us.
Yeah, I can see that.
Hold on, but who's your top 3? You say Pulisic.
So I got top 3. I'm on the fence because I'm a big West fan. But I have to say Tyler Adams. So Pulisic, Tyler Adams. I think the way Tyler played in the World Cup is just top. You know what? I'm gonna give him those 3. I want to say West. I was gonna give Chris Richards a shout. I was gonna give Anthony Robinson a shout, but just because I wanted to shout out some defenders, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to West, Tyler, and Pulisic. What you think?
I just wanted to see if you're gonna say Weston McKennie's name. Because people don't put enough respect on his name.
Really?
Good or bad game, he gonna be out there fighting hard and making us tick. So I think Weston McKennie needs a lot more respect. I'm hoping he has a big summer too.
No.
But people should realize that who's gonna help on this current roster. Who's gonna help the game grow?
Yes,
it's Weston McKennie. His personality, his demeanor on the field, and his level of skill work. He's not just a kick and hustle type of dude. West can give a ball. West can score. West has a touch when he's in form, And every player goes through ups and downs and have bad seasons. And he had a situation last year. But you see the difference this year.
He is balling. He might be the most balling player in Europe right now.
Might be the best player in U.S. national team right now.
I think he is the best player in U.S. national team right now. Probably. Probably.
But
just what he's doing at Juve right now. When Juve is getting points deductions and lost all their players and stuff.
And they don't want him there.
Yeah.
It's different when a Pulisic who's at AC Milan, they pushing him.
Yeah.
They don't want Weston there. And Weston still finding a way to start every game. Do you know what that feels like? Have you played for a coach or a system that don't really want you there?
Don't want you. Yeah.
They want to sell you, but they can't because you keep on showing up every game.
Every game.
They don't want a young Italian to start in the midfield, Weston McKennie. They can't.
Yeah, in the midfield, no less. The place that
Come on, let's talk
nobody in
about it,
America
bro.
wants a brother to play. That's right. Absolutely.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
In Italy at Juventus. So, big shouts to West, man. Keep your head up. Keep
Yeah.
balling on him. You know what I mean? You play Champions League next year.
Yeah.
Right now, hopefully they extend his contract. They're in negotiation right now. So do the right thing, Juventus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's going to be the face for the World Cup. I'm telling you.
I agree.
But yo, I just want to say for you, I'm proud of you, what you accomplished and what you're doing. I think that I got a chance to come across your page and see what you're doing. And I just wanted to give you a strength, as we say in Jamaica, right? It's a strength, meaning like an energy and a vibe to say, yo, keep on going. It takes consistency, but you got it.
I appreciate
Right?
that, especially
got it,
coming from
man.
you, brother. I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming on and just showing love.
That's all we need sometimes, man. Sometimes we're doing things in our own bubble, and even though it could be good, you don't realize how good it is because you're seeing it from the struggle, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
the media space needs you. Keep growing in it. Keep being innovative. You know what I'm saying? And all the best to you, man. When you get big, just don't forget about me, man.
Nah, man, we're growing the culture together. There's no forget. It's all us coming. That's the community we building out here. I appreciate that. I
Definitely. I'll be tapping in with you on things and projects we're doing around the country, and definitely trying to get you involved and get you on some of the podcasts and stuff that we're working on.
Please. And for my listeners, listen, like this man is very tapped in. We talk about culture right here. This is one of the pillars right here for footballer clothing. First of all, I want to just say, I don't know if I said this to you, but the fact that you can go online to your website and you can see a list of all the games and what channels they're on.
I'm glad you mentioned that, bro. 'Cause that's one thing we've been doing for 10 years, and we thought it was very important, right? Is that if you, like I said, we lifestyle, man. We're not just out here in the clothing. We were actually giving to the culture. So besides like, sponsoring tournaments and putting on tournaments and helping players become pro and getting signed and helping players go into college and training and developing players. But we also realize how important it is for people to watch the game and be able to have access to see what the game is.
Yes.
Right. So before we had apps and stuff, we had email blasts of 20,000 sending out and giving you a list every week of where to find the game.
Man.
Now it gets harder because 10 different apps, 10 different streaming things we
Services,
have to.
Yeah, and there's new deals being formed every day, right? Like,
all right, but that was something that was important for us. And again, like we just not out here trying to take from the game. We giving back to the game, and we are the consumers. We know what we want.
Right.
So we're developing clothing, lifestyle, fashion, and also things that helps us keep on being who we are, which is footballers, man. So check us out, futbolr.com. Check us out also on the Crack Podcast. You can get it all platforms, and be looking out for events in your local areas. We have a lot of clinics we have coming up this year, free clinics in underserved communities, and we're just doing everything we can to give back, man. And you can't fake it in this world, in the soccer world. If I don't know you, I know somebody who know you. If you don't know us, you know somebody who know us.
Yeah.
So just keep it genuine, man. Keep it real. That's what you say about we're footballers. That R on the end is for real.
That's real.
There's some fake soccer people out here. We're not them. There's some perpetrators out here.
There are perpetrators. They're everywhere. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it just because the World Cup's coming. There's people.
Everybody want to be because of Messi's here. Everybody's a footballer now. So
right, everybody's a footballer because of Messi. But there's ballers right here like Mookie who've been here. That's what you got to pay attention to. I appreciate you coming on, brother. Definitely more to come. But yeah, this has been great so far. I appreciate it.
All right, family, keep balling.